Welcome back to the Off the Tools podcast, and Happy New Year from the Off the Tools podcast family here.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. So today we're going to be jumping into a little bit more about just SOP building and how to build a business and let go without losing control. I think the first thing we need to kind of identify here, Jimmy, is what do you think is the criteria for a good SOP?
Yeah, I remember when we were running our painting business, one of the things that was brought up was, is your SOP good enough and foolproof? And what I mean by that is just, it's so step-by-step that you could take your SOP and give it to some random person on the street and they could actually do it. Now, of course, like the skill of painting has to be built, but is it clear enough that you could literally hand it to someone and then be like, yep, here you go, this is how to do it, and go do it? Mm-hmm. I think that would be step one, especially because if you don't have anything like that and you're just telling people what to do, or you have your project manager kind of front-ending all that instruction, yeah, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck either playing, having your project manager do all of it, and you're going to stretch him out way too thin for it as well too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I think of good SOPs, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 to 8 months. It was awful. But what I did learn from McDonald's is, oh my God, like robots are going to be making your burgers in less than 10 years for sure. Just because you best believe that SOP, documents can be uploaded to the cloud, and it's so specific and so easy. Like you said, anybody could do it. It's absolutely foolproof. Mm-hmm. And I think like the main criteria too is like you're not using like a bunch of jargon, just like random words that aren't easily understood. It's simple on the eyes. I think bullet points are really good for SOPs because it's like, okay, what's the readability? And even, when we go to develop systems and procedures, by the way, that's, what that stands for, system operating procedures. When we go to develop that over here, we attach videos as well. Mm-hmm. They say pictures are worth 1,000 words. How many do you think videos are worth?
100%. You got to have both, like depending on how people learn. And it's like, yeah, sure, you can have it all just written out there, but like some people need to see what that looks like. Mm-hmm. Right? If you really want to free yourself from having to have your project manager or someone like show them every single time, that's the way it goes, right? And that's just one part of the pie, right? Just because you have like things written down, like videos, there's a whole other level to it to make sure that crews also like follow the SOPs, right? Are they being enforced? Making sure that your SOPs aren't just optional. Because some people, it's like, hey, here's the SOPs, good luck, and they never check in on if they used it or not. Then they have to go. Then they wonder why, like they have to go back to like job sites and fix things, or because they didn't have like their team actually go through the actual SOPs. And especially when owners have the SOPs, they're enforcing it, and they show the importance of like following it for the teams. The owners can kind of like bypass the SOPs and just let their teams be independent. Right? It's like, oh, I don't need to go to Jimmy every time. Mentally, like they're just thinking, oh, I can just go take a look at the SOP. Oh, how do I do this? Check the SOP. Oh, I still don't understand. Watch the video SOP. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, if you still can't go, then it's like, hey, who's your team lead? See if they like how their thoughts are about this. And like, rarely should it ever get back to myself. Rarely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even in the spirit of usage of good time, I mean, one of the things you really want to leverage when you're in business is code. So, and by code, I mean, something to do with computing. So, say you're getting a question, or your project manager is getting a question about how to do XYZ thing. Think about the difference between a 10-minute phone call versus sending them a link. Watch this video. If you have any questions after, let me know. And you best believe, that link is going to go through everything that you thought of, both in the moment that you would have on that phone call and stuff you wouldn't have, because that moment that you created that video was meant specifically for everything around that particular instance.
100%. Yeah, man. Like, why do you think like companies out there, some, like I would say even big ones, doing like millions, are still struggling with, SOP creation or even SOP like enforcement following them? Like, why do you think? Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of them just aren't built out. I mean, we talk to businesses in the upper range often with no SOP library to start with. Like, you can probably even get to $1 million business with little to no SOPs truly, which is hilarious. But, the quality of life difference between an SOP ridden company at $1 million and a non-SOP company at $1 million, that lifestyle difference is going to be completely different because you're just going to be doing things all the time. And you know what? Like, this kind of comes back to a leadership concept too, in the regard that it's like, if you have a particular SOP and it's not followed this time, and let's say it works out, and then you don't scold them for it, or you let them know, hey, the SOP needs to be followed. Guess what's going to happen next time? It's not gonna happen. What if you're thinking about those like two businesses that we just talked about there, that $1 million business with SOPs, that $1 million business without SOPs, what's the difference in maybe quality of lifestyle for the owner, you think, Jimmy?
Oh man, I think the phrase that comes to mind is if you, the owner, is required, then the SOP is just going to be incomplete, right? Because the whole point is for you to step away, and someone that's doing like $1 million plus, they're not out there fixing somebody's like skill in painting for example, doing like cut lines, doing them proper, or like doing the proper checklist of how to complete a job, make sure you don't have to go back, right? So if it has to include you, I think it's just incomplete. So it's like, okay, well, what else do you need to put in place in the SOP so that your crew or your team lead can take care of that without you having to be there, right? So when it comes down to that too, it's like, anytime we build an SOP, it was always like, okay, what problem are we trying to fix? Because it just came up, right? Everyone thinks like, oh, I got to spend like a whole Sunday sitting there, like writing out or typing out every single part of the business or problems, things like that. Well, anytime a problem comes up and you just create an SOP by doing it in real time, great, right? Like, hey, a client or a painter spills paint. Okay, cool, there's your problem. Right? And if you don't figure that out, it's like, okay, why did that happen? Oh, it was left out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, there we go. Step one, don't leave paint middle of nowhere. Okay, what else why else did it happen? Oh, the lid wasn't on, like after they poured. Okay, well, there you go. Step two, right? Make sure it's fastened in and hammered back down, right? Leaving it somewhere else. And all these things, you don't even have to create. You can just ask your painters, right? And you can double whammy it with just asking them good coaching questions around like, okay, what do you think we should do to make sure this never happens again? Right? And it's so easy in the moment to like just blow up on them, say, what? Like, why did you do this? Like, oh my God, no, it's like you want them to be like, hey, this is, yes, it's a big deal, right? And what are we going to do to solve it? It doesn't help anybody, you, me, or the client, if we just freak out about a paint spill that's just spreading every second here. No, it's like they should be able to jump into action like that to make sure it's done properly. And boom, then you have your SOP. Heck, you can even record it at that time. Cool, you got your rags. Okay, what do we need to like clean it up? How to clean it up efficiently so it's not going even further, closer to the carpet, things like that. And you can just do it right there. Boom. There's your 10 steps of how to clean it up. Put it into a nice like Google Doc, throw it into ChatGPT, have them pretty it up for you. And if you were, bonus points, if you took a video of it, great. Now you have an internal training for other people. There
Totally.
you go.
Yeah, I don't want to breeze past something Jimmy just said here. The secret weapon in 2026 of SOP building is for sure AI. Because this is where you can go into your favorite local AI website, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, I don't care what it is, but you can literally speak into it. Hey, I just had a job site, it was all left a mess. The cut lines maybe weren't the cleanest. And we left a couple tools behind. Created an SOP checklist for the end of this job that I can give to my painters so that every single time the job is completed, they can go through this checklist and make sure that it's done. You're going to get the cleanest, nicest SOP ever in seconds that otherwise would have taken legitimate hours for you to build out.
100%. You can do it for everything. Like, start falling in love with just building an SOP for everything. It just absolutely gets me so excited because it's one of those things that once you build it, it's built once, but you're always going to update it as you go because there's going to be other things that come up as you find out. But it's just so much fun. Like, you make it, and then you have other team members that they start taking the role of it. Okay, now you start reflecting on, hey, what went well with this job site? What are some problems we went through? Okay, how do we fix it? And you can take all that information and you can throw it into your AI, like ChatGPT, and then, hey, these are all the things that we did, create it into a SOP for me, and then boom, you can put that into your Google Drive, in your SOP like folder, and you can attach a video as well too. Clean it up.
You know what I would do? I would go to my crews, my project managers, and I would go, if you create an SOP for a challenge that you had on your job site within this job, I will add a $10 bonus to your paycheck every single time. Now you're getting real data from real problems in the real world with SOPs that are built by the people that are doing the things that are going to have the challenges anyways. That's what I would do if I was there. Jimmy, if you had to say, and it's going to be hard to narrow down, but if you had to say maybe your top 3 areas of focus when it comes to building SOPs, what do you think they are?
I would say number 1 would be document it rather than trying to think and create it, because it's happening in the moment. Right now you create it, it never happens again. So I would say that's number 1. Number 2 is making sure you enforce it, because, well, if they don't use it, then there's just no point, right? So what can you do to make sure they use it? Things like checklists. Every single job, like for example, a cleanup and finishing up, they need to check these things off. It's not just looking at a list and be like, yep, I did these things. It's like, well, how do I tell if this crew lead did that or not? They're checked off, right? Each thing has a checkbox. If it's not checked off, then I'm assuming that you didn't do it. Even if you said you did it, well, the SOP is you got to check everything off, right? So I'd say that's number 2. And then number 3, it's got to be like just updating it continuously, because it'll never be finished, because there's going to be different challenges. There's going to be different ways to do things, or even better ways as you advance in your career, in your business, that you're gonna find more efficient ways to, like, maybe paint a room. Okay, now you're gonna update that SOP so everyone does it, so now your whole business, all your crews are doing the same thing and being as efficient as possible.
Yeah, no, it is the never-ending story of SOP when it comes to SOPs, because the moment you step away from it and you say, okay, that's completed, it's like, well, then you're just saying no to making sure that the things in the future that come up are actually taken care of, for sure.
Yeah. It just makes everything predictable. And then you don't have to, and like, if you think of it really, it's like, okay, well, what does predictability bring? It brings control. And then from there, your stresses, your anxiety, all the things you were feeling because it was just like, oh man, I feel like I'm handcuffed to this crew or handcuffed to like my business. They start going away. It's like, well, here you go. Here's how to solve this. And the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. And I think it's also just a skill as well, right? The better you do this, the more you do it, the more comfortable you are with it. And then you start scaling based off of things you can actually hold yourself accountable for versus just, oh, like my crew did a great job at this job site. But it's like, how and why? Do you have something in there to prove that? oh, all these checklists. It's like, great, they did that. You can actually attach that to the success, and now you can be more confident with your success in your crews.
Yeah, I'd say like probably the biggest impact SOP in my painting business that I found was a start of job checklist and an end of job checklist. Start of job checklist is things like, did you walk through the client manual with the actual client? Did you walk through client expectations with the client? Did you knock on the surrounding neighbors' doors to see if they need any work done? Is there a place for the crew kit so we can know where to put all of our stuff nightly when we're packing up and going away, so we're not inconveniencing the client? And it's like, well, think about what that's creating on a system level. That's creating predictability for the clients. They're in the loop at all times. They know their house isn't going to be a mess and have equipment everywhere around it. You're getting more work because you're knocking on the actual neighbors' doors, and you have immediately trust built up with those neighbors because you're name dropping the neighbors. And that's just through a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper. No need to get fancy.
Yeah.
So
and that would be like beginning of job checklist. End of job checklist is like, did you collect all of the equipment? Is the final payment picked up? Like, how many times have you actually had to go back to a job site because your painters didn't pick up the final payment? It's like, you could avoid that 15 to 45 minute drive, however far it is, if you just had that checklist that said they're not leaving until that payment is picked up. So, Jimmy's alluded to it, a little bit before, but it's like, whenever you're experiencing a challenge or just feel like there's a task that's really just an input for you, it's not like a high level task, you can put a process in place for someone else to do it.
And who to delegate it to, right? Like, everyone's roles should be very clear, so you can be like, just so there's no confusion, right? If you have a crew of 2 painters, well, if they don't know which painter needs to do that, chances are it's going to get lost in communication, and they're not going to do it, right? So I remember I was talking to a painter, and they're doing like somewhere upwards around $1 million, and he was telling me that they, not pending, by the way, they had about like just under 100K of just invoices they need to be collected.
Whoa.
And my first question was like, oh, are they jobs that are completed, or do you have to go back because like you just never know? No, these are straight up completed projects. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, so we started digging into like kind of what their processes are, and guess what? They just don't have one. Or I don't want to say don't have one, but it's like they finish the job, their painters are done, their head office lady just sends an invoice email, and that's it. It's like, well, how many emails do we get a day, right? Like, and for them to like follow up and to pay, not surprised that people just go under the radar. And now you have to go backwards and have to put all this follow up to it. But it could have just been taken care of right at the job site, right? But you have to do everything like Josh said. You have to have like the beginning of job, how to start a job properly checklist, how to even like maintain the job. If it's a longer job, how do you make sure that, clients are kept up in loop, right? So what we did was our painters would either text the client or even leave them a little note on the door if they weren't home, like at the end of day, just so they know what was done, right? And then at the very end, like collecting materials, like Josh said, packing everything up, making sure the client did a walk around with the painters, and collecting the payment. And by the way, the clients were never like confused when our painters were asking for payments, because it was set. The expectation was set at the beginning, but also because we kept in loop with them every single day, they trusted us. We're like, hey, like our painters would be like, yep, we're about an hour out, so here's the review form, here's the remaining balance. If you can just, we did checks back then, so it's like, okay, here's the remaining balance. If you can just make it out to our business, and boom, they were like, yeah, of course, right? We didn't wait till after the job was done. Like the painter still had about an hour's worth of work, clean up everything, so it was a perfect time to get the clients to start doing wrapping up their side of the project. So yeah, it was never a surprise to them because they trusted us. Now I could totally see if you don't have any of those, it's like, yeah, we're just going to start, and you just go like 5 days, 2 weeks on a project, you never talk to the client or once in the 2 weeks. yeah, good luck asking for a final payment like even an hour, even like half an hour before you're finished, because they have no idea. They were never kept in the loop, right? So having those payments, it'll definitely save you time to just having to go there yourself, um, if you have an SOP for all of that together. But yeah, blew my mind. 100K, man, that was nuts.
That's certainly a good chunk of change. And I think, for everybody listening, whenever everyone's talking about, systemize your business, systemize and SOP, the words are essentially synonymous, right? You systemize your business by creating systems and procedures so that what you have is replicable. I had a marketing teacher in high school. His name is Mr. Jacobs. Sorry if I'm putting you on blast, Mr. Jacobs. And he was kind of a genius, to be honest. And he was trying to explain to us, bring this all back, why people like McDonald's. And it actually didn't click for me until I was in adulthood what the hell he was saying. And it's amazing that, I even remembered it. But he was saying the reason why people like McDonald's is because they get the same thing the same way every single time. So it's like, maybe not in terms of quality, but if you can make your painting project like a Big Mac every single time, it comes out the exact same way. They know exactly what to expect every single time. Well, that's how you're going to get repeat customers. That's how you're going to get people that recommend you, because it's coming across the exact same way every single time. When it comes to letting go and letting these SOPs kind of do the walking and talking, Jimmy, what do you think that phrasing of letting go without losing control means within this whole conversation?
Yeah, I said it earlier too. I think it all comes down to predictability. Like, the thing that has been brought up in my just years in business has always been, well, business is just a game and everything is odds, right? Everything is a percentage of whether it's a certain thing is going to be successful. And what I mean by that is like, well, let's say you don't have an SOP and you're about to send a painting crew to go take on like a 1 week project. It's like, if you don't have SOPs and all you did was tell them once what to do, how likely are you going to be successful that this project's going to be 100% done properly and the clients are going to be 10 out of 10 satisfied, right? It's like, okay, well, no, there's no chance, right? Like, you might get away with luck, right? But if you did that 100 times, are you going to have more clients that are going to be more upset or pissed off that there was like no expectations, or, the color wasn't confirmed and you weren't in the loop with them? Right? So I think it just comes down to like your odds of everything, and anything you do, it's either going to move your business to be more successful, or, hey, if your end goal is to, just make every project like quote unquote perfect or like a 10 out of 10 for your clients, is it going to move towards that, or is it going to add more stress and everything towards like and the worst outcome would be like the client fires you or something, right? And if you play the odds with that, you kind of can figure out, okay, well, what do I need to do to make sure I keep my clients happy, right? It's like, hey, should I give them a check-in every day? Just ask yourself, would it get you closer to that 10 out of 10 and make that client become a referral? Or would that make the client more upset? And from there, it's like, just play the odds. And I think it just makes it more predictable.
Mm-hmm. And like a caveat to throw into that is like predictability without being there. Because I think like most monkeys in a circus can figure out a way to make sure something gets done when they're there. But to make sure something that gets done when they're not there, this is the real trick that we're trying to solve for here. Because when we're talking about building a business, we've talked about, highest revenue generating activities here before, whether that's estimating, selling, or just, working on the business. Well, all of these systems and procedures are meant to free you so that you can be doing those things. So realistically, what you're doing is you're putting in the time to build these things so you can make more money. Because now, because it's so under control, you can actually just take that time that would have been spent managing the painters. Hey, did you communicate with the clients? Let them know what you did today. Well, that 1 minute that you spent doing that could be doing a follow-up call for one of your estimates. And it's like, okay, now you just made money because you weren't doing something that you would have otherwise have been doing.
Yeah, I remember I was training a new painting franchisee owner, and they didn't do that. They didn't follow the SOP at the beginning. And one of the clients, they got upset because they're like, "You're just gonna leave the walls like this?" Because they didn't know there was a second coat going on, right? So it looked like crap, and it was like the first coat. But it would have been so easy to just, hey, if they would have just let them know, end of day, hey, by the way, we just did the first coat. It's not going to be like this. We got a second coat. It's going to look awesome, and it would just avoid everything, right? But now the client has to assume and guess, and no one ever can know exactly what's going to happen. And it did. I mean, yeah, it's one coat over a darker color. Not surprised. So, yeah, make your SOPs.
Make your SOPs or die trying, I think is the moral of the story here. Jimmy, I think that's all the time we have for today. If you guys want to see what it might be like to work with us on the marketing or consulting level, we'll make sure to have a link down below the video here. As always, we do super appreciate every single one of you guys listening, and we hope you guys appreciate us sitting down and doing this every single week because we do it for you guys. That being said, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next.
Cheers.